The morning sun had barely crested over my cornfields when the first sign of chaos hit this shrill, desperate car horn just tearing through the air like a fire alarm in church, bouncing off my barns, echoing all the way down the driveway. I was still holding my coffee mug standing beside my old tractor with grease on my hands, wondering if I should even bother checking what all the fuss was about when I spotted her, Margaret Whitfield, president of the Willowbrook HOA and queen of all things overbearing, trapped behind a wall of shipping containers, her shiny silver sedan boxed in like a bad game of Tetris. Her face was this wild shade of purple, pounding her steering wheel, laying on the horn like someone was robbing her at gunpoint. I swear I almost laughed. She had trapped herself, and I don't think she even realized it yet. Let me back up a sec and tell you how we got to this lovely little circus. My name's Thomas Mitchell, been farming this land for 25 years, ever since my dad left me these 300 acres. Back then, my closest neighbor was 5 miles out, and nobody bothered you unless your cows wandered onto their lawn. But progress, man, it sneaks up on you. 2 years ago, this shiny commercial development popped up right along my eastern fence, Willowbrook Business Complex. We're talking glass offices, manicured lawns, the works run by the most aggressive HOA you could imagine. Margaret Whitfield ran the show like she was Queen Elizabeth with a clipboard. First thing she did, let me know my farm was an eyesore, said it to my face too. Every time I kicked up dust with my tractor, she'd file a noise complaint. Harvested corn at sunrise got a violation for disturbing the peace. Lady had a sixth sense for sniffing out problems where none existed. The real circus started when Margaret tried to claim the old gravel road that cuts through my property, the only road that connects her precious office complex to County Road 47. Now, this road's been here since before the internet was a thing, and my granddad granted an easement so folks could cross our land, but Margaret, she acted like it was her private highway, glared at me every time I rolled a hay baler down it, muttered about unauthorized agricultural traffic under her breath. She started taping little passive-aggressive notes to my gate, suggested I find alternate routes for heavy equipment. She even painted bright yellow lines down the gravel designating business hours only. I ignored her. My land, my road. If she didn't like it, too bad. Then came that Tuesday morning. Oh, I'll never forget it. I went out to check the irrigation system and ran smack into 6 shipping containers arranged in a perfect blockade across my driveway. Sealed off my only access to the county road like a bad prank. Nearest container had a laminated HOA notice said, due to repeated traffic violations, access was restricted, and I was to use alternate routes for all agricultural activities. Signed, of course, Margaret Whitfield, HOA president. My blood was boiling so bad I could taste it, but I kept my cool, no sense losing my head. Instead, I did what any farmer who's seen a few winters would do. I called my lawyer, then drove straight to the county records office. And let me tell you, what I found there made my day, no, my year. The records were crystal clear. Willowbrook Business Complex had one legal access point to the county road, and it ran straight through my property. No alternate routes, no back doors, nothing. By blocking my driveway, Margaret hadn't just cut me off, she'd stranded her own office complex. If you've ever seen poetic justice play out in real life, this was it. So instead of yelling or demanding, she moved the containers, which is what she expected. I went full chess master. Installed a steel gate at my property. Lined digital locks, security cameras, chains, the whole 9 yards. Posted a sign, private property access by permission only. Trespassers will be prosecuted. Locked it all up tight. Within 3 hours, I had the first complaints, delivery trucks stuck outside the gate, employees parked up and down the road, clients calling to say they'd turned around. By noon, Margaret's phone must have been about to explode. 2 in the afternoon here, she comes barreling down the road in that sedan horn, blaring like she's about to give birth. I took my time walking over. She rolls down the window and, man, if looks could kill. Open this gate immediately, she shrieks. You can't do this. This is a public easement. I just smiled, held up my phone and showed her the county records. Actually, Margaret, it's a private easement on private property. Since you blocked my legal access, I had to secure my boundaries. Can't have unauthorized traffic, you know how it is. Her jaw dropped. But our offices, people need to get to work, she blurted out. Hey, I understand, I told her, even tried to look sympathetic. Feel free to submit a written request. I'll review it in, 7 to 10 business days. And don't forget a traffic plan and proof of insurance. The look on her face. If I could have bottled it, I'd be rich. She huffed, she puffed, she threatened to sue, but I just walked away and went back to fixing my tractor. Over the next 2 days, Willowbrook basically shut down. No deliveries, no customers. Employees started working from home. One of the tech companies threatened to break their lease. Margaret called the police, who told her it was a civil issue. She called the county, who said, "Ma'am, you created the blockade." She even tried to hire a crane to move the containers, but the operator wouldn't trespass on my property. Meanwhile, I documented everything, every phone call, every angry voicemail, every frustrated delivery driver. Day 3, Margaret showed up trying to play nice. "Thomas, maybe we can work something out if you'll open the gate." "I'll have the containers removed right away," I said. "That's a start, but we'll need to discuss damages, lost farm revenue, security, installation, legal fees, and of course punitive damages for trespassing and obstruction." She turned sheet white. "How much are we talking?" she asked, voice quivering. "My lawyer will be in touch." Meanwhile, the gate stays locked. Another day passed, things got uglier. Other board members, realizing lawsuits were coming, called an emergency meeting. Margaret got cornered. She finally signed off on removing the containers and agreed to formal negotiations. But I wasn't done yet. 2 months later, we were in court. My lawyer had the receipts, maps, deeds, photographs, security footage, even written proof Margaret herself had directed the whole stunt. Judge took one look and boom, case closed. Not only did the court order the HOA to pay me $75,000 in damages, but they gave me exclusive control over the easement. I could now charge a monthly usage fee, $2,000, to anyone crossing my land, Willowbrook included. That's $24,000 a year for using a road they tried to steal. But it got better. The judge hit Margaret with personal fines, $15,000 out of her own pocket for harassment and abuse of power. Community service, too. The board booted her out that same evening. Bye-bye, Queen Margaret. As we left the courthouse, she tripped on the steps, those fancy heels catching on the concrete. Her whole vibe just shattered. "This is insane," she wailed to her lawyer. "They can't do this. I'm the vice president of Wellington Financial. I manage $300 million. This can't be happening." Nobody cared. Reporters swarmed her outside, firing questions about abusing her HOA power for personal vendettas. If the DA was pressing trespassing charges, how she felt about losing her job. She tried to push past, got chased to her car phone, buzzing. "Emergency board meeting at Wellington. They're discussing your involvement," her assistant warned. She fumbled her keys, shaking. Then, as a final kick in the shins, she saw her car had been booted, parking ticket, orange sticker waving in the wind. She stood there in her $5,000 suit, holding that ticket, while every camera caught her meltdown. For the first time, she understood what it felt like to be on the receiving end of petty, vindictive authority. I watched it all from across the street, leaning against my dirt-covered pickup, just grinning. You know what I mean? Life's funny that way. Sometimes justice rolls in like a combine at harvest and leaves nothing but stubble. Margaret lost her job. Her reputation, probably her mind. The best part, I never raised my voice, never broke a law. I just let her dig her own hole, then watched her fall right in. So let me ask you, was I right to fight back, or did I go too far? Is standing up to power like this justice, or just a different flavor of revenge? Tell me what you think down in the comments, because out here sometimes the only thing standing between you and chaos is a locked gate and a stubborn farmer with a long memory.